Hi, I am Dr. Sai Prasad Reddy. Welcome to Software Testing Interview Questions and Frequently Asked Questions, Session 5. Today we are going to discuss about these three interview questions, which will be frequently asked by the interview panel members. What is software testing? Why software testing is required? Why testing is necessary? So they may ask in any way, right? The first question, what is software testing? These three questions may be asked for this freshers and as well as for the experienced people, those who are claiming the experience from 0 to 3 years of experience. Right? Now we will discuss. What is software testing? There are so many definitions for software testing, but as a professional, you have to give the answer like this. What is software testing? Testing is a process of analyzing or operating the software in order to find the defects. This is called software testing. The process of analyzing or operating the software in order to find the defects in the application. So how to operate the software? See, while performing the testing, as a software test engineer, you have to execute the software in a controlled manner to find the defects. This is important. You are not supposed to execute the software as you like. You have to test the application. You have to test the requirements in the software in a controlled manner. Then only you will be able to find the defects in the software or in the application. This is the definition for software testing. As a professional, you have to give the answer like this. Next. Why software testing is required? To get adequate trust and confidence on the particular application. To whom you have to provide the trust and confidence? To the client, to the customer. And also, why software testing is required? You have to check whether each and every requirement is meeting the client need or not. Whether each and every requirement or the functionality in the application are satisfying the client requirements or not. And also, you are supposed to do the testing to have the zero defects in the application. Of course, in many cases, zero defects are impossible and impractical. There will be some minor defects which will not impact the business or which will not impact the application. Right? Why software testing is necessary? This is very important interview question. Now, you have to spend at least 4 to 5 minutes for giving the answer for this question. Why software testing is necessary? Because software testing is necessary because software is likely to have the defects. The defects should not be allowed in the application. In order to find the defects, you have to do the testing. And in some applications, these failures will be very expensive. Here, expensive is not in terms of money. Say, for example, if there is a healthcare application, if any failures occurs in this particular application, so sometimes patient may die. This is very expensive. So sometimes, you may be testing this financial application. If any failures occurs in the financial application, those failures may cause a very expensive. You have to avoid these expenses. How you have to avoid these failures? By finding the defects. For this purpose, testing is necessary. to learn about the reliability of the software. So how the testing team can learn the reliability of the software? By doing the testing. That means how far this particular software or this application is reliable for the usage. Right? That can be learned, that can be known by doing testing. To avoid being sued by the customers, what it means? See, as per this agreement between the vendor and the client, vendor means the company which is designing and developing and doing testing for that particular project, that is called a vendor. So, as per the agreement between the client and the vendor has to deliver the software according to that agreement. Either it may be a design, or it may be a coding, or it may be a testing. If the vendor is failed to deliver that particular application as per this agreement, then the client, sometimes the client will sue. Sue means to file a case in the court of law. So to avoid this suit, you have to do the testing, because if and only if you do the effective testing and efficient testing, then only it is possible to deliver the quality software to the client. If you are not delivering the quality software to the client will file a case in the court of law. That is called suit. You have to avoid that one. And to stay in the business, say for example, one particular company, if they are doing testing, if they do the testing effectively and efficiently, and if they able to deliver this quality software, obviously in future they will get more business from the different clients for testing. So to stay in the business, you have to do the testing correctly. And to build the confidence, we have discussed. To demonstrate the conformance to the requirements, yes, for this purpose, that means you have to demonstrate, you have to show that the designed and developed software is meeting the client requirements, is satisfying the client requirements. So for this purpose, you have to do the testing. And obviously, to find the defects in the software, you have to do the testing. To show system meets user needs. User means client needs. So, in order to demonstrate whether the system is satisfying the client needs or not, you have to do the testing. The last is to assess the software quality. That means to evaluate the software quality, to check the software quality, you have to do the testing. For all these reasons, the software testing is necessary. So, why software testing is necessary means you have to cover all these points. You have to take at least 4 to 5 minutes in the interview for giving the answer. Right? Now, these are the MCQs, multiple choice questions. So generally, many companies, they will conduct technical screening test as a part of the interview. So these technical screening tests will be conducted from 0 to 3 years of experience. That is for freshers as well as up to 3 years of experienced people. Generally, all these technical screening tests will be the multiple choice questions. You have to choose the appropriate option while answering the question. Here, for some questions, I have given the explanation also for your better understanding. And some questions I have not provided any explanation. Not only for this session, even for all my interview sessions, video sessions. Where the particular question is demanding, then I have provided the explanation. If the question is not demanding the explanation, that means if the question is a direct question, I have not provided any explanation. Right? Now, first question. What is the main reason for testing the software before releasing it? See, before releasing the software to the client, what is the main reason? This is very, very important. You have to understand that question thoroughly, because testing will happen in so many levels. Here, specifically, he is asking before releasing the software to the client. Right? What is the main reason? To show that system will work after release, to decide when the software is of sufficient quality to release, to find as many bugs as possible before release, to give the information for a risk-based decision about release. So you have to choose a correct option. Here the option is D. Because before releasing it, the main reason for testing is to give the information to the client for a risk-based decision about release. Because, so how much testing is enough, and when the testing has to be stopped. So that will be decided, and that will depend upon the risk of that particular application. For this reason, so to give the information for a risk-based decision about release is the correct option. Right? Second, which of the following should not normally be an objective for test? Not an objective. You have to read the question thoroughly. Should not normally be an objective for testing. So here there are 4 options. So only one option is not an objective of testing. The rest of 3 are objective of testing. Now see, to find the faults in the software, to assess whether the software is ready for release, to demonstrate that the software does not work, to prove that the software is correct. Which is not the testing objective. See, to find the faults in the software, yes, this is an objective. To assess whether the software is ready for release, yes, this is also correct. This is also one of the objectives. To demonstrate that the system or the software does not work, yes, this is also one of the testing objectives. To prove that the software is correct, this is not an objective of testing, because the testing process will never prove that software is correct. Testing process never says that the software is correct. Testing process never demonstrates that software is correct. And the testing process never tells that software is correct. The testing process always tries to find the defects in the application. It will always demonstrate that software does not work. So here the option is D. This is very, very, very important. Right? Next, third question. Which of the following are valid reasons for testing being necessary? It's very important. There are faults in the software. The testing assesses the quality of the software. Testing is a part of the development life cycle. Testing finds out about the reliability of the software, and testing helps avoid being sued by the customers. All these points actually have earlier discussed. So, which is the correct reason, correct option? Option E is correct one. So that is option 1, 2, 4, 5 are valid reasons, and the third option is not valid. What is the third one? It is a part of the development life cycle. So, because this is wrong, because we are not doing testing to fill the gap in the software development life cycle. We are not doing testing just because of the testing is a part of the development life cycle. We are doing testing to find the faults in the application, to assess the quality of the software, to find the reliability of the software, and to avoid being sued by the customers. Right? So here option E is the correct one. Next, fourth one. The purpose of software testing is to demonstrate that the application works properly, detect the existence of defects, Validate the logical design, none of the above. C. Demonstrate the application works properly. In the previous question, I have already explained. Testing process will never demonstrate that application is correct. Testing process never says that software is working properly. The testing process never shows that application is correct. It will always tries to find the defects. Right? So, which is option? Option B is the correct one. Detect the existence of the defects. Why not C? Validate the logical design. Validating the logical designs is not the part of the testing. As a software test engineer or being a software test engineer, so the logical designs, validation of the logical designs is not your part. Right? So that's why option B is correct. Next, which of the following is not a valid test objective? Here there are some test objectives. There are 5 options. So all these, out of all these 5 options, only one is not a valid test objective. To show that the software meets its requirements, to find the faults in the software, to prove that the software has no faults, to give the confidence in the software, to find the performance problems. So, you know very well, which is the correct option? Option C is the correct one, because it is not a valid objective. Testing will never prove that software has no faults. Testing will never says that the software has no defects. Testing will always says, or testing will always tries to find the defects in the software. If any software testing team is trying to say that there are no defects at all, that is wrong. Right? Option C is correct one. The goal of a software testing is to debug the system, validate that the system behaves as expected, let the developer know the defects injected by him, execute the program with the intent of finding the errors. Yeah, which is the correct option? Which is the goal of the software testing? Debug the system? It is not the software testing team responsibility. Debugging is an activity that will be performed by the software developer. Here only one exemption is there. In automation testing, if this automation test engineer is doing some coding, if there are any errors in that particular code which is designed by the software automation test engineer, then only he will do debugging. Otherwise, in general, testing in general, so debugging activity is the responsibility of the development team. Validate that the system behaves as expected. What do you mean by this statement? So, as a software test engineer, you have to validate each and every requirement in the application. You have to validate each and every functionality in the application. How you will validate the functionalities? How you will validate the requirements in the application? By executing the test cases. After executing the test cases, you have to verify or you have to check whether the expected result is satisfying or matching the actual results or not. If both the expected results and the actual results are same, then that is said to be correct. That means the functionality is working properly and that particular test case is pass. If the expected results and the actual results are mismatching, that means if the expected results and the actual results are not same, then that particular test case is said to be failed and that particular functionality is having a defect. Right? Because, so whenever you do this, execute the test case, after completion of the execution of the test case, you will get some result, whichever it may be. Right? So that is the actual results. Actual results is nothing but after executing the test case, whatever the result that is appearing on your screen, That is called actual results. For example, say, now I have designed the test case for successful login. For this successful login, what is the client requirement? If the user enters a valid user ID and valid password, click on the login button, then that home page should be displayed. If he enters invalid user ID or invalid password, then the system should not allow the user to enter into the application. This is the client requirement. Now, if after executing the test case, that means by entering the valid user ID and valid password, now if that particular test case results is home page, that is successful login, then the expected results and actual results are same. If these two are same, then that particular test case is pass and that particular functionality is said to be correct. If these two are mismatching, that means even though you entered valid user ID and valid password, if there is an unsuccessful login, then there is a defect. That means actual results and expected results are not matching. Then that particular test case is said to be failed. That is the explanation. Now, let the developer know the defects injected by him. This is a different concept that is called error seeding. Generally, the software developers sometimes intentionally they will inject some errors and then they will execute that program, whether that injected error is displaying or not. So that is a part of the development team, not for the testing team. So it is not the goal of software testing. And execute the program with the intent of finding the errors. See, execute the program with the intent of finding the errors. So, execution of the program will be done by the developers. That is a development activity, not a testing activity. So, why these developers will do execution of the program? To find the errors. See, the errors, finding the errors is not the responsibility of the software testing team. Finding the errors or executing the program is the responsibility of the software development team. So now, which is the correct option? Option B is the correct one. Next, 7th one. Consider the following statements. Testing is performed with the primary intent of finding the defects. False or defects, both are same. The tester requires a different mindset to developers. Communication between testers and developers is not important. Independent testing is less effective. Greater independence is gained by having a different person executing the tests. So you have to choose the correct combinations and the false combinations of these options. See, testing is performed with the primary intent of finding the faults. This is true. The software test engineers and the developers should have a different mindset. Yes, it is true. See, if the software test engineer is having the different mindset when compared to the developers, then only he can implement different ideas to find the defects. Here, having the different mindset is different. Having the opposite mindset is different. Opposite mindset is wrong. Different mindset is correct. So the software test engineer requires a different mindset to the developers, not the opposite mindset. And communications between software testers and the developers is not important. This is wrong. Communication between the software testing team and development team is very, very, very important, because if the concerned software test engineer finds the defects, immediately he has to report the defects to the development team. Here the communication skills plays a vital role. Here communication skills, it may be a discussions or it may be a written documentation. Right? This is very, very, very important. So because as a software test engineer, you will be in continuous touch with the developers. You will be in continuous communication with the developers. So communication skills or the communications are very, very important between the software test engineers and developers. Independent testing is less effective. That means it's also wrong, because independent testing means, what is the independent testing? Some organizations, they will conduct testing activities only. That means some organizations, they will do only testing activities. They will not into designs of the project. They will not into coding of the projects, right? They will do only testing. Those companies are called independent testing teams, independent testing companies. Independent testing companies will have only dedicated testing teams only. If this independent testing team is doing testing, they won't care anybody. There will be no any bias, right? So they will do the testing and they will report the defects without any hesitation. Honestly, they will not hide the defects. So here the independent testing is more effective, and greater independence is gained by having a different person executing the test. Different person executing the test is nothing but independent testing team, right? So now this independent testing is a very, very, very important concept. I repeat, some companies, they will do only testing. They will not involve in the other development activities of the test, of the application. Those companies are called independent testing organizations. These type of organizations will have only testing teams. Exclusively for testing only, they will do the activities. Right? Yeah. Now see, which is option? Option B is correct. That is V, W, Z are true. V, W and Z are true. And X and Y are false, right? So like this, you have to analyze each and every question. If you analyze each and every question thoroughly, if you understand each and every options thoroughly, if you analyze each and every options thoroughly, then you will get more command on the subject. You will never forget the subject, and it will improve the confidence in you. It will build this analysis and understanding of these options for each and every question, and understanding each and every question will build you more confidence in you with respect to the subject. Then you can easily answer any questions in the interview as well as in the screening test, right? So please share my sessions to all the students, those who are searching for the job in the IT industry, and please like my sessions and subscribe my channel, and please raise your comments in the comment box. Thank you.